morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Mocking Funday and it's Christmas week. So if you celebrate Christmas, or I guess also, did Hanukkah finish? Did Hanukkah and Kwanzaa? All those holidays, it's the holiday season. It's the end of December. It's the end of the year. We're at least celebrating that. We made it through another year, guys. Well, at least for the next 5 days or 7 days, we've made it through the year. You guys can do this. Yeah. One more week left of the year. This is Before Coffee, the first and only international game show where we look up our stories right before we started. We just got caffeine in our bodies and we're learning to read and speak live on stream. Let's roll that segue wheel, but first, get into today's headlines. Today on Mocking Funday, Brussels extends sanctions against Russia over war in Ukraine, and cyber attack disrupts France's postal service and banking arm.
And for the United States, we're going to talk about the Epstein coverup, which continues as they did not release all the files they were supposed to, and they redacted most of everything, and they tried to set up Bill Clinton and got caught. Also, Marco Rubio has endorsed JD Vance for president, and JD Vance has not even announced he's running for president. What in the 25th Amendment is going on?
I mean, we're only 1 year into a presidency. It's very weird to be like, hey, by the way, guys, I'm next. Okay, right. Why are we talking about who's next already? That's weird.
The guy who supports tariffs. You're going to vote for him again. Okay, go ahead. Good. Republican Party has no idea.
Oh, you don't need to keep talking. We're doing the headlines. Okay.
Okay.
This is from El Pais. The regional elections in Spain just finished up over the weekend, and the PSOE is working hard to contain the result because it's not looking good.
And Elise Stefanik, right after being backstabbed by Trump, who she sold her soul to support, drops out of the New York governor's race and won't be in Congress either. Plus, CBS News buries a story about the El Salvador prison because they work for fascists.
Oh my God, trying to do journalism in 2025? You're crazy. Speaking of journalism, banned film exposes Hong Kong censorship trend, the director says, for My Culture News.
And it's National Date Nut Bread Day. So if you want to date a nut, wait a minute, that's not what that means? Oh, okay. Wait. Date nut bread. I guess it's a version of fruitcake, I guess is kind of what it looks like. It's National Date Nut Bread Day on December 22nd, 2025 on Before Coffee. Fruit that grows in a palm tree.
Dates are pretty cool because you can actually put them in a lot of different things. They can go on savory meals, they can go on sweet meals, they can go on spicy meals. They're just one of those special all-around fruits.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're always in fruitcake, and everybody's like, what is that?
Yeah, but you're not supposed to eat a fruitcake. That's just like a trophy.
I like fruitcake. I love fruitcake. You soak it in rum and,
then get drunk on some fruitcake. Yeah, sounds good.
Rum is sugar. It's just sugar alcohol, right?
I would get drunk on it because I get drunk off of fondue. Swiss fondue all has alcohol in it, and then I come back from the fondue like, well, guys, let's have a party. Yeah, and I get sleepy, and I'm like, where am I?
Just another way of coping with the holidays.
This year, I don't know if I know you said you don't really have anything planned, but this year we're going to do a Chinese hot pot. We got the hot pot out that was in the shed for who knows 20 years. Got the rust off, cleaned it out. We're gonna put some, we bought this huge slab of salmon, like a straight up just fillet of a whole salmon. We have some dumplings. We've got some bok choy. We're going to put that all in the hot pot in some nice broth. It's my first time actually eating a Chinese hot pot because I've never had it myself. I've never been in this situation. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let's roll our segue wheel for the first story.
Right.
I have 2 stories here, but they should be short. So hopefully we don't roll a limerick.
Right.
It's only a haiku. You almost got limerick. They're right next to each other. This story is coming out of, well, the EU. Brussels has extended its sanctions. This is the 20th package of sanctions against Russia. This is on RTV Slow, so Slovenia. It's a Slovenia newspaper by Give Zenin. I guess they have the writer of the story under protective identity because I don't know their full name. They just gave me initials. Due to Russia's aggressions against Ukraine and actions that destabilize the situation in the country, the Council of the EU has extended the validity of restrictive measures and sanctions against Russia for a further 6 months until the 31st of July 2026, in which they have to vote again whether or not they're going to extend those sanctions. And reminder, I don't know if they actually passed it or decided to agree, but they passed they were talking about Article 12 in the EU, which can go over the current, I think it's Slovenia and Hungary are currently trying to stop all sanctions from passing against Russia because they get a lot of gas from Russia. They're also, and they don't want to create any other additional corridor for energy. So they just keep saying, no, you can't stop Russia from giving us gas because we will all freeze to death. It's like, have you tried looking at other avenues? No. Well, then that's your own fault. But I think they've passed Article 12, which means they don't need a unanimous vote in order to reinitiate sanctions. And they're also planning on by passing that, they also make it so that they don't have to reinitiate sanctions every 6 months. Instead, it'll be every year. I don't have any news on Article 12 passing or not, but this story is about, it might talk about it. The measures first introduced in 2014, which was during Crimea, have been significantly expanded by the EU since February 22 in response to Russia's aggression against Ukraine. The sanctions cover a wide range of measures across various sectors, including restrictions on trade, finance, energy, technology and dual-use goods, industry, transport, and luxury goods, the EU Council said in a statement. They also include a ban on the import of transport of crude oil and certain petroleum products from Russia to the EU by sea. That's why the shadow fleet is such a big deal, because they are bypassing these sanctions. The exclusion of several Russian banks from SWIFT payments and the suspension of activities and broadcasting licenses in the EU of several media outlets that spread disinformation and are supported by the Kremlin. In addition, specific measures allow the Union to respond to sanction evasion. As long as Russia's illegal actions continue to violate fundamental rules of international law, in particular the prohibition of the use of force, it is appropriate to maintain all measures introduced by EU and, if necessary, take additional measures, the statement added. The EU has so far imposed 19 packages, that's one before 20, so I'm glad we could do math, of sanctions against Russia over its aggression in Ukraine. In the latest package approved in October, member states approved, among other things, a complete ban on imports of Russian liquefied natural gas, LNG, into the Union from the 1st of January 27. The package also includes sanctions against additional ships of so-called shadow fleet and restrictions on the movement of Russian diplomats across the EU. So now they've said, if we determine you're in the shadow fleet, doesn't matter what fucking flag you're flying, we're going to sanction you too. Oh, you're from Vietnam and you're running oil from Russia? Sorry, you're sanctioned. We don't care. We don't care if you're Vietnamese. You're buying oil from or natural gas from Russia and selling it in the EU market. That's not allowed. Meanwhile, new sanctions are already being prepared.
Carbon.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky announced on Twitter that Ukraine is cooperating with European institutions in preparing the 20th package and that it will introduce additional measures itself. According to him, those who cooperate with Russian military-industrial complex, as in give them money, give them supplies, give them weapons, will also be sanctioned, including China. The EU Council later announced it had taken additional measures against 2 individuals for human rights violations, the repression of civil society and democratic opposition, and the undermining of democracy and the rule of law in Russia. So that's, for example, I think, was it last year or the year before? Famously, Putin's opposition leader died in prison, which is against democracy. This guy disagrees with your fundamental thing, your ideals. That's allowed in a democracy. Somebody is allowed to say, I'm against everything you believe in, and I'm running on a different platform that is not doing those things. They're allowed to do that in a democracy, but Russia doesn't have a democracy. They have a dictatorship. And so when you say, I don't agree with you, Putin, they put you in jail, they starve you, and then you die of an unknown illness or you get killed in prison in the gulag. And there goes your opposition leader. The sanctions include Moscow court judge Dmitry Gordeyev, who issued several politically motivated verdicts against opposition figures and human rights defenders, and prosecutor Lyudmila Baladina, who played a key role in several high-profile cases in which human rights were allegedly violated, and individuals who criticized the Russian authorities or publicly supported Ukraine were repressed. You said Ukraine deserves freedom? To jail with you! That's a normal reaction. Both will have their assets in EU frozen. EU citizens and companies will be banned from doing business with them, and both will be subjected to a travel ban to the EU. The European Commission has disbursed 2.3 billion euros to Brussels under the instrument for Ukraine. This is the 6th regular payment under the Instrument for Ukraine, which provides support to the country in stabilizing the state budget, the functioning of public administration, recovery reforms, and its path toward EU membership. The payment follows the successful implementation of reforms in strategically important areas, including public finance management, the justice system, financial markets, decentralization, and regional policy, the agri-food sector, management of critical raw materials, and the green transition and environmental protection, the European Commission said. With the 6th tranche, the European Union has paid Kyiv a total of 26.8 billion euros under the so-called Instrument for Ukraine since March last year. They've really increased the amount they're paying to Ukraine to help them get out of this war or win or something, because it's not looking good for everyone else in that area if Ukraine gets conquered by Russia. According to the Commission, corresponds to the almost 70% of the funds available under the first pillar of the instrument. So they've already spent 70 million helping Ukraine. The instrument of Ukraine is divided into 3 pillars and defines, among other things, a strategy for Ukraine's recovery, reconstruction, and modernization, as well as time frame for implementing the reforms necessary for its ascension to the EU in the coming years. If I remember correctly, you need to have your currency match up with the EU, the euro. You obviously have to follow certain levels of democracy, anti-corruption, social rights, right? You can't be, I mean, that's the problem with Hungary, right? You can't be homophobic and then be in the EU. But that's what Hungary is doing for some reason. I'm not sure why they're allowed to do that. But to be fair, people are still allowed to be gay in Hungary. They just seem to not be as safe as in other countries. The first pillar, which covers direct financial support, foresees disbursement totaling more than 38 billion from 24 to 27 in the form of a combination of grants and soft loans. Reminder, they have to pay those back at some point. It's not free money. They do have to pay it back, provided that the appropriate conditions are met. Despite Russia's aggression, Ukraine is implementing real reforms at an extraordinary pace. The EU is promoting reforms that bring Ukraine closer to the EU while supporting critical needs, including energy security. The instrument for Ukraine will continue essential to maintain the reform momentum in Ukraine's European future, the European Commissioner for Enlargement, Marta Kos, said today, which is the 22nd of December. According to the Commission, the reforms have implemented by Kyiv show how the instrument for Ukraine directly promotes progress on the ground and even in wartime situations. So it's a win for the Commission or the EU from their side.
Okay.
Give me a haiku.
Reshuffling the deck chairs in the Titanic is the way I see it. But anyway, Russia has gas supply. This haiku. Russia has gas supply, not just hot air from Kremlin. Some is LNG.
Give you a clap for your haiku.
Story, Carly just going on.
For my next story. Oh, I just punched my mic. I need to stop doing that. Let's go to France. So, over the weekend, France's postal service and banking got disrupted by cyber attacks, which is not great for the holiday season when people are trying to get their gifts in. Though, to be fair, if you're buying gifts this late, what are you doing, man? A suspected cyber attack. This is on AP News. A suspected cyber attack knocked France's national postage service and its banking arm offline today on the 22nd of December, blocking and delaying package deliveries and online payments at the height of the busy Christmas season. The postal service, called La Poste, said in a statement that a disrupted denial of service incident, or DDoS, if you live on the internet, everyone knows what that is. You send a bunch of packages to an IP address or a website, and it's like, oh, there's too many. You're giving me too much internet, and then it explodes and it breaks down and it goes, oh, I can't compute too many things, and then you can't, you get a 404 or a 505, and it says you can't access this page because there's too much traffic. So that's what a DDoS is. It rendered its online services inaccessible. Said the incident had no impact on customer data. Nobody's data was stolen, but disrupted packages and mail delivery. Where do I put this package? I can't figure out the address because the fucking network is down. At a Paris post office decked out in holiday garlands and usually busting this time of year, employees turned away frustrated, customers lining up to send or retrieve packages, including Christmas gifts. Customers of the company's banking arm, La Banque Postale, were blocked from using the application to approve payments or conduct other banking services. Yeah, we would love to process that you want to send this package across the country, but we don't know whether you paid us or not. The bank redirected approvals to text messages instead, which is using a different thing, right? It doesn't use the internet, it uses radio waves. So at the end of the day, right, and I'm sure you're happy about this, radio is still one of the more reliable networks of communication. It's a little harder to hack. You can obviously spoof radio, but it's a little harder to hack radio. Let me hack the radio. I shall get all your bank information. Our teams are mobilized to resolve the situation quickly, the bank said in a message posted on social networks. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. It came a week after France's government was targeted by a cyber attack that disrupted the Interior Ministry in charge of national security. In that incident, suspected hacker extracted a few dozen sensitive files and obtained access to data relating to police records and wanted persons, Interior Minister Laurent Nunez said on broadcaster France Info. He blamed imprudence at the ministry for the incident. French media reported that a 22-year-old was detained. Wow. Starting young. Also last week, prosecutors said that France's counter-espionage agency is investigating a suspected cyber attack plot involving software that would have allowed remote users to control computer systems of an international passenger ferry. That sounds like a terrorist attack waiting to happen. A Latvian crew member is in custody facing charges of having acted for an unidentified foreign power. Ooh, espionage indeed. Well, they did say it was France's counter-espionage, so somebody, let's just, probably Russia, right? Let's make a ferry crash in France. That will get them. France and other European allies of Ukraine allege that Russia is waging hybrid warfare against them, using sabotage, assassinations, cyber attacks, disinformation, and other hostile acts that are often hard to quickly trace back to Moscow. If we just disrupt society in France, they'll be too busy dealing with that to give money to Ukraine or build their army up so that they can defend against us when we want to invade them in 20 years. Supposedly, allegedly. But that's my shorter news. Stay strong, France. Don't let Russia tell you what to do. I think you're muted. You're welcome, Sage. I'm glad the show can be helpful to you. And that you know what's going on in the world.
Anyway, right. So my haiku goes back to Motown and the song Please Mr. Postman. Hey, Mr. Postman. Mr. Postman. Where's my effing mail? I almost swore. Mr. Postman. There you go.
It's a bit of a cheating one, but I accept it.
Where's my mail, Mr.
We
Postman?
love artistic. See, there's something AI can't do, artistic, and art. AI would never say, what if I just put a bunch of O's to make the syllables? AI would never think of that. So we love artistic human ingenuity here on Before Coffee.
AI is very good at correcting itself and then forgetting the information you just gave it, and this is going on with all the shit it was
it's over for us when AI starts going, wait, I can just put 3 O's in order to fill the syllables. Then it's over for us.
man.
All right, thank you for your haikus.
All right,
let's roll our segue for our next story from you. And I've got
talk about the
simile and metaphor.
My first story is going to be short. We'll get it out of the way so we can talk about the Epstein cover-up. Top Republicans refuse to endorse JD Vance for the 2028 run. DailyBeast.com, Will Neal. They're probably waiting to see if Stinky the Clown runs. 2 top-ranking officials have refused to throw their backing behind Shady Vance as prospective heir to the MAGA throne. Pathetic. In separate interviews Sunday.
This is like the Tea Party, by the way. Remember the Tea Party? Oh, wait, you don't. They're gone now. So that's what's going to happen to the MAGAites, too. They're just going to disappear in 5 years.
They're the same damn people.
Yeah.
They're just same damn people. They're just racists. Again, we got to trace this all the way back to the John Birch Society, who decided in the 1950s that black people were communists because they wanted rights. And that's where the initial what do you want to call it, wellspring of stupidity started with the assholes of the John Birch Society. In separate interviews Sunday, Senators Rand Paul and Lindsey Graham both declined to say they'd be supporting the vice president, who's somehow vice president of this country. I think there needs to be representatives in the GOP who still believe in international trade as good as still believe in free market capitalism, who still believe in low taxes, Rand Paul said. Lindsey Graham, meanwhile, sidestepped the question entirely when asked if NBC would join slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk and widow Eric Kirk. We're putting the extra K's in there, 3 K's everywhere, because they're all fascist racists. I'm worried about tomorrow, that this is a big day for JD. A big day for JD.
Is it,
though? It's like he's getting his first, his first big boy suit.
First coup.
I'm a real boy, JD Vance. He somewhat cryptically told the network, quickly pivoting to praise Stinky the Clown's escalating tensions, praising Donald Trump's escalating tensions with Venezuela. Yeah, let's start a war. Lindsey Graham.
Woohoo!
What a pile.
More make money for my friends. They can sell stuff and make more money. And then I can tell them, hey, bribes this judge.
Done? Okay. Lindsey Graham, of course, loves killing people, but he's got a lot of skeletons in his closet, and a lot of those skeletons are little boys. I can guarantee you that. However, one person has endorsed this shady character, Marco Rubio, who somehow became Secretary of State for the United States, even though he's about as accomplished as a bag of socks I have kept in a drawer for 14 years. Rubio's endorsement was notable following a reported internal battle between himself and Vance for support of a prospective White House run among power brokers when the GOP there are power brokers in the GOP ranks. There's billionaires that funnel them money. That's Rubio since reportedly told confidence that Vance is a front runner to Republican nomination and going to be chosen to run. Of course, they're all counting on State Clown to either die or not run, and I don't know which one is more probable. Dingleberry Don, who apparently thinks he can run, and he can't. If he can run in 28, so can Bill Clinton, so can Barack Obama, so can George W. Bush. They all should run. Seriously. Latest polls, here's a quote, direct quote from that bloated orange carcass. I would love to do it. The mega leader. The mega leader. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever, he says. I guess latest polls put Trump's approval rating at 36%, which it's a contender forever. Not quite his worst ever, but only 2 points above his all-time low of 34% immediate aftermath of the January 6 riots. Yeah, he's more unpopular than he was then because back then everybody knew he was the hell out of the White House. There's your idiotic politician nonsense. And now we're going to get onto the Epstein cover-up. Let's have your
my simile.
Your spin.
If every ex-president runs, it's going to be like the Hall of Fame of presidents. You know, you don't have to be a good or bad president to be on the Hall of Fame.
Oh, shame.
But
right.
Actually, no, it's not like Hall of Fame. It's like All Stars. RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. But instead of drag queens, it's going to be presidents, and they're going to be like, who's getting voted out this round? And it's going to be a great reality TV show because, let's be honest, ever since 2016, maybe even since W. Bush, the presidency has been kind of like a reality TV show. And actually, if you look at it historically, there's been a lot of presidents who were they were drama queens. They loved the drama, and they just said shit in the newspapers and said, oh, yes, give me all that attention. So,
yeah.
Sadly, it's always been a bit of a reality TV show.
Usually, the presidents had the usual statement through a press secretary or some person in the White House, and that's usually always actually how basically it was done with Biden. This just bastard just fucking puts shit out there. The stuff I get booted from book for, the stuff I get my comments taken down for, this pile of shit gets the comment anytime he wants to, gets to incite violence anytime he wants to. No penalties, nothing ever happens. Anyway, that's not even the story. All right, so CNN.com has another story here. Right. We're going to talk about the Epstein cover-up continues as the Department of Justice has completely flaunted the law, broken the law, and pulled shit down to cover it up. This is going to go on for a while because they're a bunch of fascists and they do not want to expose Trump. This is from CNN.com. Slow pace of Epstein disclosure sets off new storm to batter Trump. This is from Stephen Collison of CNN. Hopefully we're doing real reporting at CNN. The Justice Department is denying accusations of a cover-up as they actually cover things up in real time. Flouting a new law, flouting means ignoring, following its partial and extensively redacted releases of the files on Jeffrey Epstein and an ever-deepening political storm around Stinky the Clown, the department started to make public files from a huge trove of information on the accused sex trafficker. We know who this is. The files contained the stunning revelation that there are 1,200 people identified as victims. There's 1,200 victims. Somehow, nobody victimized them. Not one person victimized them, but some other victims. They must all just been Ghislaine Maxwell, or the fuck her name is, right? The files contain a stunning revelation. There are at least 1,200 people identified as victims or their relatives. They include materials from dozens of hard drives, old CDs, and computers. But the information has fallen far short of the congressionally mandated full disclosure, and hundreds of thousands of pieces of evidence are still being reviewed by officials. Why are they being reviewed? So they can get Trump's name off them. Experts say there are many documents critical to understanding the case why Epstein is not prosecuted earlier have yet to appear. Department's limited compliance is the latest twist. I like how they parse words. This is straight up breaking the law is what it is. Let's not call it anything else. And we know who Epstein is. Senior officials insist their caution is motivated by the need to avoid identifying Epstein's victims. But unfortunately for these let's just stop right here. Let's go ahead and let's talk about one of the pictures that was released. There's a picture, right? And it had a picture of Bill Clinton, Michael Jackson, and a bunch of people's faces, right? Blacked out. That was one of the pictures they released, right? And the people whose faces are blacked out are Diana Ross and Michael Jackson's children, right? Had nothing to do with Epstein whatsoever, but the Department of Justice saw we had to see it. Don't you see this? Michael Jackson's a molester, Bill Clinton's a molester, and this picture proves it. Doesn't prove shit. It's Michael Jackson and his kids with Diana Ross, and that's the president posing with them because they're famous. It's nothing. Other pictures they released, of course, had Trump in them. And guess what they did? They took him down. As soon as people realized there was Trump in them, they took him down. And then when people got mad, they put him back up. This is a cover-up, and it's a cover-up in real time. You can see it happening, and there needs to be a whole bunch of people going to prison for this. Can somebody please get punished for this besides the one woman, you know? Can we just please punish just one man? One man? Just one? Not Bill Clinton, because you had nothing. If you had something on Bill Clinton, you would have released it. Period. End of fucking story. Because that's what they released on Bill Clinton. A picture of him with Michael Jackson. Ooh. Ooh. That's probably on Bill Clinton's wall, for all you know. And by the way, it was not a picture that you could not find on a search on the internet already. It already existed on the internet. It was nothing. It was them trying to freaking distract you. Look over there. There's a squirrel. These people need to go to prison, and they need to go tomorrow. Representative Jamie Raskin, the top Democrat of the House, I won't make fun of Jamie Raskin, he's a good guy, told CNN's Casey Hunt, State of the Union on Sunday, DOJ's motives could not be trusted. They have not shown any deference or respect to the victims at all. For the survivors, it's a nightmare. It is about covering up things that, for whatever reason, Donald Trump doesn't want it to go public, either about himself or other members of his family, friends, and Jeffrey Epstein. You will notice that they didn't mind putting Democrats and liberals on these pictures and saying, look, they're the only ones. And here's a bunch of blank documents. And here's a bunch of blank pictures. Like, what's in the picture? We had to black everything out. Why would you black all of a picture out? Cover up. Rep Tom Massey, who helped lead the congressional campaign, who is a Republican, to require the files released, warned that the administration was flouting the spirit of the letter of the law. The Kentucky Republicans told CBS on Face the Nation, I won't be satisfied until the survivors are satisfied. Massey's Democratic partner on the effort, Rep. Ro Khanna of California, joined his colleague in threatening contempt proceedings against Attorney General Sham Blondie after the holidays. If there's not full compliance, you got until January 2nd, Sham Blondie. We're building a bipartisan coalition. It would be fine. I'm sorry, and it would fine Sham Blondie for every day she's not releasing these documents. Fine her specifically, $100,000 per day until she releases everything. Her personally. She is in charge. She can't put this on By the way, Dan Bongino, I think we know why he resigned now, right? I think we're on to something here. Dan Bongino is going to leave the country in January. Bye-bye, everybody. I'm out of here. Because he's seen the pictures. He's seen the videos. He's seen the files. Don't forget, he's deputy director of the FBI. He's totally freaking disgusted. I don't care if he is a Republican or a fascist sycophant. He's seen the files, and he's disgusted, and he quit. So that's another clue for you. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who has no soul, brushed off either warnings that he, Blondie, or other Justice Department officials could face impeachment or criminal proceedings. Good luck to you, buddy. You're going to get impeached. Bring it on, he said. Bring it on? Okay, let's bring it on to him. Let's bring it on. You know who said bring it on? George W. Bush. And you know what? ISIS brought it on for like 20 years. They did, and they just kept bringing it on. We are doing everything we're supposed to be doing to comply with the statute. Actually, you're not. You're redacting things which are actually against the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, both. So Blanche, who's lying, you're talking about 1 million or so pages. Well, you had time to redact them. You had time to redact them, didn't you? You had to be time to go with a big old Sharpie and go, oh, nobody can see this. But we don't have time to release them. We got time to redact them. What a pile of shit this guy is. So listen, the idea that Attorney General Blondie would ever let a single piece of paper go out of the department that contains victim information is something that we won't do. By the way, they released a picture of Bill Clinton, I would say this again, and Michael Jackson, totally innocent, doing something, nothing at all, just standing there. No accusation, just a picture of Bill Clinton and Michael Jackson with just no victims, nothing. Anywho, the Justice Department released reams of documents, but not all of these required by law. Many of the documents carried extensive redactions far beyond what the law required. They included notable references to Bill Clinton, including a photo of the former president pulled next to someone whose face is redacted. Bill Clinton sitting in a hot tub. All right, it got me. All right, and again. But there were a few references to Trump, who was a friend of course there are few references to Trump. They've redacted all of them. On Saturday, a photograph of Trump, among other images, and a photo of open desk drawer was removed from a Justice Department website. The photo was restored Sunday after the department said it was reviewed, protecting victims following a request from legal authorities. Complete lie. You didn't withdraw that because you didn't notice the first time you saw it there was a picture of Trump, and then you pulled it off because, oh my God, Trump! We can't have a picture of Trump and Epstein, and there's hundreds and hundreds of pictures of Trump and Epstein and the Epstein estate files. What are you hiding? What are you covering up? We need to know. Stop covering up. There's the end of your story. I can't go on any farther without losing my shit because I'm so sick of people covering.
Well,
it is politically damaging.
Just like how we never really discover the full truth behind, a murder or, a serial killer. You never really understand it at the end of the day. We're never really going to understand what they're fucking hiding.
Well, it's an active cover-up, and it's an obvious active
The problem with governmental conspiracies, right, is, they're the ones in power, aren't they? So unless you have a whole new government takeover who wants to demonize the previous government, you're never going to get the full truth. And like with Reagan, right? Sorry, not with Reagan.
That's
like
not
with
the full truth.
Nixon,
That's not
right?
the full truth.
Oh, we just give we give you a pardon, whatever. We don't care about the illegal shit you were doing during your government because we want to move on, right? That's the worst thing that happens when you have a regime change is, we just want to move the country forward, so we're never going to reveal the truth and we're just going to forgive them for their mistakes. So that's kind of what I'm worried about myself. Right.
That's a metaphor, or is it just actual facts?
If all the good things we want to happen and the best freaking Cory Booker or whatever gets elected president, I don't know, I'm just thinking, put a random great Democrat out there, just whatever. He gets elected president in 3 years. I bet he's gonna be like, oh, we forgive Trump and JD Vance, and they were just power hungry, crazy sycophants. But they did illegal stuff. But we're just gonna move on. That's what I'm scared of. That's what I'm scared of in the future.
We know what Democrats do. Joe Biden, he said, I don't prosecute plots because I'm the president of the United States. I'm that. And he appointed Merrick Garland General said, I don't prosecute anybody. I just hire a special prosecutor collecting evidence so we cannot even divulge it to anybody because the Republicans won the election. So yeah, Garland was half a man. He would have been indicting people immediately, especially Trump or trying to go to government. Instead, he waited. Special prosecutor. Prosecutor being appointed by Trump.
And of course, Sage says here in chat, majority of it was redacted. It's clear they're hiding something. The more they cover it up, the more people get curious and suspicious. How can you trust things when they're like, oh, we covered the victims' identities to protect them, and then it's like, you covered, a photo that was on Getty Images, right? A photo that was on Getty Images, but the children were not redacted.
Look at anybody.
Yeah.
When people say they're disgusted by the images that they've seen, right?
Yeah.
Why can't we?
I'm not saying the children of Michael Jackson aren't victims, but it's weird to paint them as victims for being the children, like painting them in the idea, right, that they're strange children that Michael Jackson kidnapped. It's like, no, they're just his children, right? They're just his children. They're not.
And by the way, that picture, which was pictures of his children, is available on the internet, and it has
exactly.
been
From
for
Getty
a long
Images.
time.
You can go
so
look
it up.
It's not even
a file. Yep, it's just something you can find. And again, they're just trying to cover up for Trump and all his rich money.
I'm going to screenshot every image I see from these files because I don't trust that they'll be there tomorrow, right? I need to have them in my own personal computer so I can pull them up and say, guys, don't forget about this image that they wiped off the internet. I still got it on my hard drive.
See, here's why I wasn't in a hurry on Friday. Oh my God, the files are coming out. I'm like, they're going to be redacted. And sure as shit, the first thing that came out, the files are just redacted pictures. I mean, I was watching somebody load them. Well, Melanie was watching them live. Like, I don't know why he's even bothering. Yeah. I don't even know why he's even bothering. He's sitting there downloading black rectangles. They're supposed to be pictures, but they're black rectangles. Like, you're supposed to redact only the victims, not the entire picture. So this entire picture is nothing but victims, wall to wall, nobody else. How is that anything
that's not suspicious at all?
Why is that picture?
That's normal.
That doesn't even, right. If that picture is nothing but victims, it doesn't belong in this file at all. It shouldn't even be part of the file. Oh yeah, some pictures of victims. If they're all just victims and nothing else, well, they don't really belong in a file, do they? But they're not just victims, are they? And by the way, the law that was signed into, let's review this. The House passed it with only one dissenting vote. The Senate passed it by just bypassing a vote and having a voice vote, so unanimous consent, in other words. So Dingleberry Don signed it into law, and on the thing it says, political and whatever rich people, their considerations are not to be taken into consideration. No political shit is supposed to be taken. The very first thing they did was, oh my God, this is going to be political nightmare for some of my friends. And we don't care. We don't care about your friends. Your friends are rich assholes.
We don't care about their political career. That's a personal thing.
Okay.
Political career.
I don't care about entitled.
It does not affect our lives. I might if they become a dictator, but you know what I mean.
Among the people I know are on this are Clarence Thomas. We know Clarence Thomas is in this shit. We know it, right? We know this guy. We know this guy will do anything squirrely that anybody offers him. Free trip to Epstein Island, I'm there. Because he has no morals, he's no scruples, and he's a piece of shit. He even cut off his own nephew from private school because he smoked weed. Oh, he smoked weed. So Clarence Thomas is a piece of shit. We know he's in there. We know his wife Ginny's probably in there too, right? Because she's a fascist. All right, so there's your story. There's your everything. Let's spin the wheel, I guess.
Yep, let's roll our wheel for my story, which is not about anything to do with the Epstein files, but there was an election in Spain, a regional election. Give me a song.
Ooh.
Remind me of a song. This is coming out of Spain. Right. A party in Spain is not liking its results for the election, and it's not looking good for them. The PSOE. Let's remind everyone, including myself, who the PSOE in Spain is, because there's so many parties in so many countries. I can't know all the parties in every country, especially since I don't live in Spain, and this party probably will never affect my life. The Spanish Socialist Workers Party. So this is your socialist, your workers union party, and they are trying to hide the results of this. Extremadura is what it's called, the Extremadura elections. The Cadic exhibition. Oh wait, no, sorry. This is on El País. The PSOE is working hard to contain the result, written by Annabel Diaz. The trauma in the Extremadura is gripping the other federations holding the election. The government will maintain its support based on the growth of the far right. Now to scroll down because there's a bunch of stuff. To the people of Extremadura, voted according to their own interests, not based on the actions of the Spanish government. The PSOE leadership will be working tirelessly today on the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th of December until President Pedro Sanchez calls for general elections to contain the electoral debacle in the Extremadura, where abstention among former socialist voters was overwhelming, as in a lot of people didn't vote. There were no incentives to vote for the candidate Miguel Angel Gallardo or his party, the PSOE. Both the electoral platform and the party brand suffered a resounding and unmitigated defeat. Anything but publicly acknowledged that the people of the Extremadura may have been able to judge the national government. This was nothing unexpected for the socialists. In an election where the main hope was that their primary opponent, the PP, would fare poorly, given their own constantly dismal performance, with this result, the PSOE has left its grassroots supporters in all regional federations deeply demoralized, anticipating a poor showing in the upcoming regional elections to be held between February and June. Extremadura has been a symbol for the PSOE since the beginning of democracy, consistently achieving an overwhelming result, losing 13 points in just 2 years. That's a lot of points, especially after winning the popular vote in 23, despite tying with the PP in seats, severely damages the emotional foundation of the century-old party. The Prime Minister's team attempt to limit the outcome will have a limited effect. No matter how much they try to place the blame for the defeat on the candidate, Miguel Angel Gallardo in fact ran a campaign that revealed his weaknesses stemming from his indictment for alleged favoring of musician David Sanchez, the Prime Minister's brother, with a job as president of the Bandaos Provincial Council. Ooh, nepotism! Gallardo was very popular until the case came to light. For 21 years, he was mayor of Villanueva de la Serena. In that town, where he won consecutive absolute majorities, the PSOE, Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, has now come in third place. So they went from winning the popular vote in 2023 to being third place. All his questionable actions, such as securing parliamentary immunity at all cost, for which he forced the resignation of 4 members of the list of who have been next in line to become regional deputies, are related to his legal troubles, which are directly linked to the Prime Minister. This guy's corrupt. He is not running a good government. Whatever the outcome in court, which he maintains will come to nothing because there's nothing there. Yeah, probably because you cover it all up. It will always bring with it paradoxical facts and events. Miguel Angel Gallardo never supported Pedro Sanchez, who's the current leader of the party and the government. In the 2017 primaries, his support went to Susana Diaz. Much more recently, in 24, he ran for General Secretary of the PSOE in Extremadura against Lara Garrido, the candidate backed by the party headquarters in Madrid, Ferraz. He was repeatedly and openly stated. The mention of Ferraz indicated that she was the one supporter by former Secretary of Organization Santos Cerdán, now under investigation for allegedly receiving illegal commissions. The corruption runs deep here in the party. The establishment candidate to lead the Extremadura was Garrido, not Gallardo, but the members gave him the victory, much to the chagrin of the Federal Executive Committee. Does he have dirt on these people? What's the deal? In the PSOE's national discourse and also in Gallardo's, the line of attacking the Extremadura PP, endorsed by Alberto Núñez Vallejo, for having called these elections held 2 years before the end of the elective term, have not brought greater stability. I mean, I think we did this story last year or in the middle of the year. They had a hung parliament. There was no elective majority, so they've been running with a minority government, I think, since the summer or maybe even since the whole year, which is bad because that means that we're reaching the kind of the radical level sides of the government, right? You're going far right and far left, and they're never going to meet in the middle. And you need people. Unfortunately, I know as a radical leftist myself, centrists are annoying, but because they're always like, "Oh, but what if we do this and this?" And you're like, "No, not that. That's against everything I believe in." but you do need a central government to actually be able to run a government, sadly, because you need people to make deals with each other and agree on compromises instead of going, I will not work with the far right in any way possible. I wish that would work, but unfortunately, as we're seeing, the trend in Europe right now, and in everywhere, it seems, is, yeah, far right, they're gonna fix nothing, but they tell me they're gonna fix everything, and I believe them. Anyways, yet again, I'm a leftist, I'm biased. So, there's no great stability from these elections. They have done nothing except boost the power of Vox, which is also a far-right party, if I remember correctly. The PP does not have an absolute majority, and therefore the victory has a bitter aftertaste, but it has garnered no less than 43% of the vote. Their argument that the far right continues its upward trajectory will remain a driving force for the PSOE, as an incentive for progressive citizens to prevent it. Please vote so you to stop the fascists from taking over. In Extremadura, this warning has no effect whatsoever. Furthermore, voter turnout was very low, and while awaiting post-election analysis, the socialists themselves believe that their own voters were the primary contributors to the abstention rate. In these first few hours, the PSOE has shown no signs of reconsidering its strategies. It remains focused on the fact that Maria Gardiolo did not obtain an absolute majority and that the Extremadura Assembly will be configured with even more uncertainty than the PP already faced due to Vox's constant power struggles. In the final day of the campaign, Miguel Angel Gallardo's stance on election night became clear. He would not resign, even though he probably should, just like Macron should resign, right? These people are causing their party to lose elections and are like, no, I will be the leader, but rather convene the party leadership, which will take place today. It actually took place, I think, today, on December 22nd, for a calm reflection. This marks the beginning of the candidate's likely departure, but without haste, according to sources within the Extremadura PSOE. He can't let go of that power. He wants to stay up there. The internal trauma of this result will clash with the internal realization within the federal leadership that they haven't lost Extremadura because they never had it in the first place. Just as they don't govern in the autonomous communities where they will face elections in the coming months, Aragon, Castile and Leon, and Andalusia, not regaining power is a given. Even less so is the prospect of losing votes unchecked. So there is at least I would say this was a political piece, analysis by Annabel Diaz, who is the political and parliamentary reporter for El País. So she has way more information about what's going on in Spain than me, because she's living there and she analyzes it probably on the daily basis. But it's not looking good for the Workers' Party in Spain, and it looks like they're digging their own grave, sadly. This was translated to English, so I apologize if some of the sentences didn't make sense, because I can't translate Spanish on the fly like that.
They really didn't say a whole lot anyway, just rehashing. I'm just going to use the same one I use every time I remind politics in Spain is the Clash song Spanish Bombs.
And they did bomb. They bombed at the polls.
Right? And Federico Lorca is still dead and gone, and of course, Generalissimo Francisco Franco remains dead. Critically dead. I'm just going to throw Federico Lorca in there every time now, right? Because it's in that song. And he was the communist leader, the socialist leader, who was assassinated during the Spanish Civil War of the 1930s, which brought Mr.
Fascists don't like socialists. They want to share stuff. Fascists want to keep stuff for themselves.
Franco was your second fascist. Like, he was ahead of even Hitler. He was after Mussolini, then there was Franco. And it was like Hitler kind of the same time, right? I guess. I don't even know who to call the second fascist, but maybe neither one of them, right? Maybe it was somebody.
Maybe we shouldn't, let's not give them the placement on the podium or anything.
Yeah, but we need to give equal time to
Congratulations,
Federico
you win the
Lorca.
first fascist of Spain.
We need to give equal time to Federico Lorca, who, if he would have won the Spanish Civil War, we would have been probably fighting Spain as communists at some point. We don't even know, right? Anyway, let's have a spin. Is it my story yet or another spin?
That's all I gotta say. My long article about what's going on in Spain.
Yep. And my article after you spin is going to be...
It's going to be a non sequitur. Also, Sage says in chat, funny how fascists say others are selfish but take everything for themselves. Interesting.
Oh yes. Life is shitty. All the world's governments are going to hell except for a few. Billionaires make more in 1 second than I make in a year. But at least life is full of cautionary tales, and one of them is Republican Elise Stefanik, who was once a never-Trumper, who called him a misogynist, and he claimed that he was way too close to Putin for her taste. And then, 15 minutes later, she became a Trump supporter, and she just got stabbed in the back. Let's do it. BBC.com, Republican Elise Stefanik ends New York governor bid and will leave Congress. Yeah, that's right. She was almost going to be the UN secretary. I'm not saying she was going to be bad at that job. I mean, at one time she was a competent politician, but she got rid of all of that credibility by supporting a misogynistic sexual predator who works for Russia. Way to go. Elise, this is again a cautionary tale. Republican Congressman Elise Stefanik has announced that she is dropping out of the race for governor in New York and will not seek re-election to Congress. Her announcement comes days after Republican Bruce Blakeman. If there's ever a name that was made up on the spot, it's Bruce Blakeman. There's no way that's his real name. But let's just pretend that's his real name, right? He's in the Mike Johnson Hall of Fame. Making up your name, are we, Bruce? Anyway, Bruce Blakeman, who, like Stefanik, is a close Donald Trump ally. No, Elise Stefanik doesn't get within smelling distance of Donald Trump, right? She's not a close ally. She is biding her time so she can climb the ladder, and she thinks she's kissing the right butt, but she failed to kiss the butt before, I guess, the right time. She kissed the butt before it was ripe. I don't know. Or she waited after it was ripe. Anyway, kissing the butt didn't work for her at all, and now she's going to leave Congress too. Probably go into private industry and make a fortune. I mean, she probably already was rich. She was a Republican after all. But again, she's going to cash in, but her political career is, I don't know, somewhere between Genghis Khan and Generalissimo Francisco Franco. In other words, it is extinct. Stefanik had announced her bid to challenge Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul in early November. In a X post, we used to call Stefanik. People don't even announce things in press conferences anymore. They just cowered out and sent text messages. Oh, we're so brave. Stefanik said that while she believes she would have won the primary, effective use of our time and your generous resources to spend the first half of next year in an unnecessary protracted campaign where I had no chance. Oh, she didn't put that in there.
I swear, guys, I was gonna win. I dropped out so you wouldn't lose. Yeah, totally. Trying to save face is what it sounds like.
Yes, and again, if you're a politician, disingenuousness comes with the territory. Unfortunately, you cannot say what you actually mean. That has never occurred in politics, except maybe Ross Perot, and he got away with it because he was a billionaire, and he didn't win, so he didn't get away with it, right? We gained 30% is not winning. Excuse me, back to the show. I like these statements. She said she wanted to focus on her family, which she apparently didn't give a shit about for the last 10 years. I believe that being a parent's life, a parent is life's greatest gift.
I totally forgot about those guys.
Yeah, right. Just like JD Vance. Just like JD Vance and his girlfriend, they talk about their children. But I had them small little guys. Yeah, they don't know
one thing for a man to say, I want to
right?
focus on my kids, because, you know, the stereotype is men forget about their children all the time. But, like, you gave birth to those children, and you're like, oh, yeah, I have kids I need to take care of. I forgot about those guys.
If you're upstate New York representative and your children aren't living with you in D.C., I don't know, you know what I'm saying? First of all, the Republican Congress doesn't do a fucking thing. They don't know anything, right? She could spend her whole goddamn life with her children and nobody would know because you don't do anything. So there's your little diatribe on that. Anyway, let's do this again. I believe that being a parent is life's greatest gift and greatest responsibility. She's absolutely right about that. I have thought deeply about this, and I know that as a mother, I will feel profound regret if I don't focus on my young son's safety, growth, and happiness, particularly at tender age. What the hell are you talking about? How old's your kid? I didn't even know she was pregnant. I mean, she's been in Congress. Well, she have a kid while she was there? Or that kid is at least 15. That is a tender age. I mean, every age is a tender age. 106 is a tender age. Blakeman, the two-term Republican executive at Nassau County in Long Island, New York, has announced a bid for governor earlier this month. Two-time Republican executive for Nassau County, which Nassau County is an exclusive uppity Long Island bunch of rich dirtbags. And not all rich people are dirtbags. It just seems to be a dominant trait. Let's call it that. A spokesman for the New York governor, Kathy Hochul's campaign on Friday says Stefanik has finally acknowledged the reality that she would lose the race against her. Yeah. Everybody's going to lose the race. If you're running as a Republican and with Trump's endorsement next year, good luck. Because you're going to need it. The last Republican governor of New York was George Pataki, served until 2007. Now, okay, so let's have a non sequitur about that, and I'll get into the meaty story about CBS News being a fascist organization.
Give you a non sequitur here. I forgot to feed my fish, my pet fish. So sorry guys, I'm no longer going for governor of my village leader, because I forgot about my fish. So I'm gonna go focus on making sure my fish get fed. And don't worry though, I was gonna win. I was gonna give trams to everyone.
Definitely.
Every village in the Netherlands was gonna get trams, but I gotta focus on my pet fish. So I hope you can accept my resignation from the election. For governor of the Netherlands.
Yes.
Just the whole Netherlands, the governor of the whole Netherlands.
My thing is, I don't even guarantee this Blakeman is going to win the Republican nomination. If you just run anybody against him, if you got Trump's endorsement, I don't think it's going to do him a lot of good anyway. No.
It's nice that they think it's a competition, I guess. Good for them.
And Nassau County is one of them places you could actually legitimately run your fish, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the area of the state that put George Santos into the Congress. They didn't check him out at all. He was on the Republican side ballot twice. Nobody checked that guy out. And that's Long Island. That's how stupid they are out there. So again, let's say, hey, immigrants are stealing my,
beach resort. I don't know.
They're just rich. They just think, oh, my taxes,
somebody always coming to steal stuff from them because they have so much stuff. That's the problem with being rich.
Don't forget.
People want to take my things. I worked really hard to get these things, and no one can have them but me. Guess what? One day you're gonna die, and you won't have any things anymore.
That's right. Here's another thing: your job or your boss actually, he or she. And them, usually it's a they because it's a corporation, they have a balance sheet item called labor expense.
Oh, no.
That's all they think of you. Oh, you're a labor expense. That's all they care about. And you is labor expense. That includes your insurance, all that crap, right? Another thing they do is they buy insurance on you, life insurance, and they give you the policy for free. Why do they give me a life insurance policy for free? You know why? Because your family not only gets a payoff, they get a payoff. So when you die, that insurance premium that they've been paying pays off bigly because they are really, really into insurance because they buy the insurance and they're probably getting a kickback from the insurance. So corporations don't care about you the extent that we care if they exist amazingly. Like, let's talk about Cracker Barrel, who paid their customers like a fiddle earlier this year, right? We're going to change our logo. Let's see if that upsets. And immediately, right? Changed it back because they knew what they were fucking doing. Now get attention for their brand, right? And once they got that attention, their job was done. All right, so let's get into the story about more corporate malfeasance. This is CBS News Daily Voice. CBS News blasted for scrapping a 60-minute story. I guess they're saying it's, like ABC delayed Jimmy Kimmel's show, right? A plan of 60 Minutes report examining a notorious prison in El Salvador is pulled about 3 hours before airing. Feel more outrage about CBS News rightward shift under new leadership. Once again, news is the news. It doesn't have an agenda or a point of view. I am here with a microphone. I ask a question, the guy answers it. I ask another question, the guy answers it. This is how news works, not, well, here, let me tell you what you can actually see, what we can make you see, we're allowed to show. No, the news. What's happening? Not freaking corporate meddling, which is what this is. CBS News quietly announced its news release update that it wouldn't run inside CCOT during the 60 Minutes episode on Sunday, December 21st. The story was widely promoted as an inside look at a brutal conditions at a Centro de, oh my lordy, Centro de Confinamiento del Torresimo, our terrorism confinement center. These people are terrorists. Let's terror calling them. Yep. You get deported, you're not terrorists. These are actually could be terrorists, and they're actual killers. You do shit wrong. You overstayed your visa. Crime. Or you didn't have a visa, or you weren't in the country legally, which is again a misdemeanor, 6-month prison sentence. That's all it is. The mega prison used by the diaper administration as part of a mass deportation effort. Prison, again, why are we going to prison? Because we think you did something wrong, and we don't have to prove it. So it's Guantanamo, but it's in another country. While CSO only said the report would air at a later date. After they fire everybody, it's in the current regime, maybe? After they edit a lot of it, delete a lot of it somehow. I swear, being a reporter for CBS News, you must be just about ready to take your boss out and beat his face in. Because why am I a reporter?
They might even have access to the raw footage, and they might just release it somewhere,
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you're a reporter, you're a cameraman, just get it out there. Make them sue you.
I feel like if you're going somewhere to investigate I don't know, prisoner of war prison at this point, I don't fucking know. You probably care, and you probably want people to know about it, so I feel like you should just not give a shit about your job at that point.
Let's do the whole story. It's probably buried in the story somewhere. And an internal note obtained by New York Times denounced the decision. 60 Minutes correspondent Sharon Alfonsi, the reporter who visited CCOT for the story, called it politically motivated censorship. Alfonsi agreed with CBS statement that her expose needed additional reporting. Our story was screened 5 times and cleared both by CBS attorneys and standards and practices 5 times. Well, I wonder why 5 times, right? Because we don't want to piss off our God. Oh, please, God, let us. Oh, orange diapered God, please let us live. Pathetic. So 5 times for standards and practices. It's factually correct in my view. Pulling it now after every rigorous internal check has been met is not an editorial decision. It's a political one. Again, go on some show and tell us. Get out there, get your face out there and tell us. Not an internal message. Maybe
don't get your face out there. Just let us know what happened, man.
Well, it's a leaked memo. I'm sure she leaked it. The segment focused on... you think reporters don't know how to leak stuff? Excuse me. The segment focused on Venezuelan men deported to CCOT under our Stinky's immigration crackdown. CBS said that Alfonsi spoke with 7 men who were later released and described the brutal and torturous conditions they later released, which it would indicate they served their 6 months, right? This is all they can lock them up for. And again, you're being locked up with frickin' criminals and you've done nothing wrong. Nothing criminally wrong. No felony. It's a misdemeanor. to be in the United States illegally. A misdemeanor. Maximum punishment, again, cannot exceed 6 months. Alfonsi, so again, they lock you up. You didn't do nothing wrong. They let you out after 6 months, and they say we didn't break any laws, which is legitimate. They can say that. Alfonsi warned that scrapping the report would damage the credibility. Torturing's another thing. It would damage the credibility of 60 Minutes. We have been promoting this story on social media for days, she said. Our viewers are expecting it. When it fails to air without a credible explanation, the public correctly identifies corporate censorship. We are trading 50 years of gold standard reputation for a single week of political quiet. That's more than 50 years there, sister, but I get your point. The move marks the latest internal dispute at CBS News since Barry Weiss, who I found out is the daughter of Pat Summerall, who was probably the best NFL football announcer there ever was. He started with John Madden, started with Pat Summerall, right? In a very real way, Pat Summerall taught John Madden how to be John Madden, right? And this is his daughter? Well, CBS didn't respond to the Times request for comment on Alfonsi's note as of the press time. She later said, I refer all questions to Barry Weiss. Oh, okay. Who said this now? CBS, the Times request. Oh, so the stupid, let's let this idiot who's running CBS News answer for her complicity here. Paramount Skydance, which is a fascist Australian, I believe, Sky News, they believe is the Australian version of Fox News, installed Weiss as a newsroom chief as part of a $150 million purchase of her anti-woke outlet, the Free Press. Oh, she's anti-woke. Woke means black. I can't wait till this woman is fired. I'm going to dance. Since the deal, CBS News has been widely criticized for its conservative pivot. Widely criticized for turning idiots into heroes, just absolute clowns into people that have anything to say. I've watched some of the CBS Morning News interviews, the clowns they interview now, and it's like, you're interviewing the absolute nobody who's accomplished nothing, and you're making them into somebody for some reason, and I don't know why you're doing it. I don't even mention the guy's name, but he's an absolute nothing. He's a zero. And the interview proved it, by the way. The Pittsburgh native, this is this unfortunately named Barry Weiss, because we can pun the hell out of that name, because she buries stories, correct? The Pittsburgh native opposed the term migrants to describe the deported men. She also pushed for adding a Trump administration interview with someone like Stephen Miller, a White House deputy chief of staff, who is the architect of all this hatred. Alfonsi said that her team requested comments from the White House, State Department, Department of Homeland Security. Okay, the administration refusal to participate becomes a valid reason to spike the story. We have effectively handed them a kill switch for any reporting they find inconvenient. The standard for airing a story becomes the government must agree to be interviewed. Then the government effectively gains control over our things we do, right? We become the stenographer for the state. Again, this goes on for a while, but we got to know who owns CBS. It is Paramount Skydance's CEO, David Ellison, son of the Oracle founder, Trump ally, Larry Ellison. David Ellison is also personally a Warner Brothers. Gets that? Guess what? That's going to get approved. Discovery, and has been seeking Trump support. And again, going to buy Netflix, a social media platform. This whole thing's going to go down because Trump's going to approve it because his billionaire friends give him money. They give him kickbacks. He's taking money. We know this is happening. He can do whatever he wants. The Supreme Court said so. Everything he does is legal because the Supreme Court said so. Again, just another Monday telling the entire world that, hey, United States, we live in a weird, I won't call it totally fucked, but we're getting there. What's your unfortunate non sequitur?
Yeah, It's really weird to live in a time where you're disillusioned completely with the government, that thing that's supposed to stop chaos, and instead it seems like they're just screaming chaos reigns. So there's your non sequitur.
Oh, they go to the bank every day. They go singing to the bank every day as we all confuse each other, fighting over the scraps. Isn't this lovely?
All right, let's roll our segue for my culture news. You're gonna have to alliteration headline. It was almost limerick. It was on the sliver, the sliver of limerick. Our alliteration headline. My story is coming out of, where was it? I think it's Hong Kong. Yes, Hong Kong. This is on France 24 in association with Agence France Presse. After 4 months of restless waiting, filmmaker Kiwi Chow received a dreaded but not altogether unexpected message. Hong Kong censors had banned his new movie from reaching the big screen. The 46-year-old's career, which took off in 2015 with an award-winning dystopian tale, encapsulates how a film industry once known for its audacious spirit and sardonic humor has dimmed to leave artists describing a creative straitjacket. His latest thriller, Deadline, tells the story of an elite school rattled by warnings of impending suicide. Chow told AFP in an interview last Wednesday, which was the 17th of December, describing this work as an allegory for hyper-competition under capitalism. Everyone needs to win, and everyone around you is against you. You need to beat them. The movie was filmed in Taiwan, but set in what Chow called an imaginary world. Censors determined that it was contrary to the interests of national security. But how? Nobody gave an explanation, the director said, calling the decision absurd. Beijing imposed a strict national security law in Hong Kong in 2020 after a huge and sometimes violent pro-democracy protest in the finance hub. Film censorship rules were tightened a year later. After that, Chow said the film industry stepped up self-censorship. If it involves Hong Kong's real political situation, absolutely no one will make a movie about it, he said. Asked about Deadline, the Office for Film, Newspaper, and Article Administration said it would not comment on individual applications. Censors banned 13 films citing national security reasons between 21 and July this year, while 50 films were required to be modified, the office told AFP. Hong Kong banned no films between 2016 and 2020, but that figure jumped to 10 in 2023. Chow said he believes his film was rejected not because of its content, but because his years flouting Beijing's taboos have put him on an informal blacklist. I want to collaborate with actors, seek out locations, investors, but it's very difficult, he said. I felt so lonely, he said of making Deadline. On December 17, 2015, 10 Years premiered in Hong Kong and showcased 5 dystopian vignettes, including one directed by Chow, at a time when many residents feared Beijing's growing political influence in the semi-autonomous city. Speaking to AFP exactly 10 years later, Chow recalled how crowds flocked to community screenings after some mainstream cinemas refused to show the film. Many people felt that 10 years depicted Hong Kong's predicament, how freedoms could be lost. They felt this was prophesied in the film and it came true, Chow said. Chow's segment of the film, titled Self-Immolator, ends with a fictional elderly woman dousing herself in petrol and flicking a lighter. The self-immolator was a symbol of sacrifice. I wanted to ask Hong Kongers, how much are you willing to sacrifice for values like freedom and justice? He said, adding that his ideas on sacrifice are shaped by his Christian faith. He said he got his answer during the 2019 pro-democracy protests, which were unprecedented in scale and ferocity and led to more than 10,200 arrests, and more than 2,000 people were sanctioned by law. In 2019, Chow was near the end of the production cycle of a romantic drama film, but he also shot extensive footage of the protests that would become the documentary Revolution of All Times. The documentary premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in July 2021, but Chow never tried to screen it in Hong Kong and kept the entire production team anonymous. Because, well, look at this. He's on some unofficial blacklist now for probably releasing the film. After making Revolution of Our Times, I expected not to be able to make movies for quite a long time. He was mentally prepared to go to jail. Scary. While the documentary did not land Chow in prison, the filmmaker said he paid a steep price as investors and collaborators deserted him, almost dooming Deadline. Chow said he could not secure a single Hong Kong school as a filming location, prompting him to move production all the way to Taiwan, where the film was released last month. The long-awaited Hong Kong censorship decision came as a blow, particularly for the film's commercial prospects. The government took an official stance that this film was contrary to the interest of national security, which could be a first for me and add some level of risk and anxiety, Chow said. Some of Chow's supporters in Hong Kong traveled to Taiwan to have a special screening of Deadline, though one organizer said he was searched by customs upon his return. Did you bring any Deadline film with you? We're not going to let you put this on the black market. Hong Kong customs declined to comment on individual cases. Chow did not want to abandon his city despite feeling that the political censorship was creating headwinds for his work. Maybe I will lower my budget and change the script, he said. As long as the film can be made in Hong Kong, then I haven't given up. Now there's your sad, sad truth that some of these people are living in the world, right? You just want to make art, you want to spend a message that has nothing to do with, as far as you're concerned, right? And the government tells you, no, we're going to give you an arbitrary reason, get fucked, your art isn't allowed. So, and this is why some people hate China. Sadly, right? They don't hate Chinese people, but they hate the Chinese government because they do shit like this, where they tell people you're not allowed to think. You must say what we tell you to think,
Their motto.
and they end.
Yeah, China. Again, if you were explaining communism to one of your friends earlier, communism does not allow for private property. That is your one definitive thing you have in. They own everything. Means of production, everything. So, okay, so let's do the alliteration headline.
Yep.
Movie Maven makes matinees meaningful. Middle Empire meanies mothball melodramatic motion picture. I had a lot of time to
The
write.
reaction to it was quite melodramatic indeed.
Well, the picture might not be melodramatic, but it starts with an M, and headline writers don't care about facts, right? We know that. Was that error? Just made history. I did send you a video.
All right, I'll get that downloaded. Let me roll my segue.
Let me get my version of that video also while I'm at it. Okay, this day in
I'll
history.
give you some bad puns for today's news. In history?
All right, today's history. Hopefully not a whole lot of crap today. It is December 22nd. Let's see. What do we got? I scrolled too far.
Right. Okay, here it is.
All right, there you got the video. Is it loading?
Yeah, the rudest Christmas song ever.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll just load my history. That way I'll have it already here. There we go. All right. We're going to do this day in history because, hey, we have to.
We have to do it.
Because we have to.
We have
All
to
the
look
way
at history
back.
so we can learn about the future because unfortunately we just keep repeating it, huh?
I keep scrolling too far. Okay, December 22nd in the year. Oh, my video is now playing in the background. We gotta pause that. Okay, in the year 968, at the winter solstice, there was an eclipse of the sun such as never happened before, wrote Leo the Deacon in the earliest account of solar corona that can be definitively linked to a datable eclipse. Everyone could see the disk of the sun without brightness, deprived of light, and a certain dull and feeble glow, like a narrow headband shining around the extreme parts of the edge of the disk. So They can trace that, what do you call it, cosmic event, you want to call it? You can trace that back to 968 based on what everything's done since then, because mathematicians are really smart. 1216, the Dominican order was sanctioned by Pope Honorius III. The Dominican order, they're the ones that are like named off these colleges and stuff. They started colleges. 1481, the member states of the Swiss Confederation concluded the Diet of Stands. Everybody was eating their favorite stand. An agreement whereby civil war was averted. Yeah, that's right. The Diet of Stands. The Swiss Confederation came up with them. Blame them. Don't blame me. In the year 1666. Wow. The mark of the beast here. No, it was 1666. Guru Gobind Singh, the Indian spiritual leader, was born in Patna. He is revered as the 10th and last of the human Sikh gurus. So everybody looks at this guy and happy birthday to him. Better make him a cake. 1856. Frank B. Kellogg, U.S. Secretary of State, who won the Pulitzer Prize, was born in Potsdam, New York. He won it in Peace Prize in 1929. 1887, Srinivasa Ramanujan was born in Erode, in what is today Tamil Nadu, a self-taught Indian mathematician who made many pioneering discoveries, whose story was told in the movie The Man Who Knew Infinity, in the year 2015. I guess I need to know that one. Yeah, self-taught Indian mathematician. Again, he just had a brain for it. I just know he could probably calculate the day that total eclipse of the sun happened, right?
Yeah.
And it just happened to happen on solstice, on the 22nd of December. Yeah, we've kind of passed solstice now.
Everyone. The sun went down like at freaking before I even started the show.
The days will get longer from now on.
But that means we're at the lowest point, so it can only get higher from here. So
yeah, we're tilted in that one direction, and we're on that side of the sun. So as we move, that coverage of the sun changes, and this is the weakest it's ever going to be. So yay, if you're in the North Pole, you're like, oh my God, there's the sun just going around us. 1894, French Army officer Alfred Dreyfus was sentenced to life in prison for treason for allegedly selling military secrets. His conviction was based on specious evidence.
Don't do
publicity
that.
on our trial.
That's a felony.
Again, he was Jewish. And again, he was Jewish, and it sparked a controversy that divided France. France, come on, man, you guys, you had the revolution. You should have been in 1894. You should have been celebrating the fact that you don't have kings anymore. This is the thing. People should have been just like going, "Oh no, we're gonna hate somebody for being Jewish. Treason. Whatever." 1941, U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt met with Winston Churchill to discuss World War II 2 weeks after the Pearl Harbor attack. In 1965, the movie Dr. Zhivago, David Lean's adaptation, starring Omar Sharif and Julie Christie, became one of cinema's highest-grossing films. A very long movie about Russian Revolution. 1972, rescue helicopters arrived at the crash site of the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. This is known for, let's call it cannibalism, but people... The first group was 2 months after the plane went down in the Andes Mountains of Argentina. Of the 45 people aboard, only 16 survived. And again, cannibalism is why we talk about it.
Delicious.
1990. I should refer us to that great Monty Python skit, right? Where they're all at sea and they're in a lifeboat and they're running out of food and there's 6 of them, or 5. Yeah, there's 6 of them, right? And the captain says, I'm about to die. I'll probably be the first to go and I want you to eat me. And one of the mates goes, well, nothing personal, but I'd rather eat Johnson.
What doesn't anybody
want to? And everybody on the lifeboat has their preferences, right? And the captain's like, "How come nobody wants to eat me?" he's butthurt by it.
Congratulations,
So
you're the one who gets to survive.
Oh, Monty Python is missed dearly. 1990, the Constitution of the Republic of Croatia was promulgated, granting such a civil rights as freedom of speech, religion, information, association, as well as the guaranteeing the equality of nationalities. Way to go, Croatia, writing up that Constitution. 2010, Barack Obama signed a legislation to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Just grab your gun and go stop a bullet. That policy regarding the service of homosexuals in the military, it took effect in 2011. That kind of was the policy. They just made it official, like Bill Clinton said, "Yeah, here's my official policy. Stop getting into people's sex life unless they're raping somebody," right? 2018, a shutdown of the U.S. federal government began when Stinky declined to sign an appropriations bill, and it lasts for 34 days, which he repeatedly does because... Let's repeat after me. Maybe we put a little "Trump works for Russia" bouncing ball in front every time I say that. 1989, our featured event, Brandenburg Gate, was reopened. We've been there. And this day in 1989, the Brandenburg Gate, was what's left of it. They still got the guard tower for all used in Germany. You already know this. The Brandenburg Gate in Berlin was reopened as East and West Germany continued moving towards reunification. Berliners had been unable to use the gate since 1961 when the newly built Berlin Wall blocked access to it. Feature biography is Giacomo Puccini, the Italian composer, the opera guy. You know that guy. He has the, they sing and they don't need a microphone. That stuff. Yeah. December 22nd, 1858 is his birthday. He's born in Lucca, Italy. Died in Brussels at the age of 65 in 1924. Other birthdays today. Indian mathematician, which I tried to pronounce his name earlier. I will not try again. We already covered him. 1912, Lady Bird Johnson, First Lady of the United States. Diane Sawyer, American journalist. Boy, I miss having American journalists. Well, where'd they all go? Hey, she was born in 1945. 1960 is the birthday of American artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. I think that's how you pronounce it. American artist, turning 65. Ralph Fiennes, American English actor, the English patient, as they call them in that movie, born in 1962. English patient, not a whole lot happened in that movie. I just will say that. Our national days today, it's National Date Nut Bread Day, and it's Forefathers Day. Unless it's a Sunday, then it's the following Monday. Anyway, it's Forefathers Day, which is December 2nd every day. I only had one father. If you had four, it's spelled different. I got it. Okay. Forefathers. It means, I guess, all the people that came before you. And four mothers. It's not exclusive. It's just kind of a like mankind kind of thing, right?
It's
we just
mankind.
Like when I say people, I include horses and dogs. It's anything with a personality. I didn't say humans. I said people, right? I don't think people means just humans, because other than that, because corporations are people, and you can't even show me what a corporation looks like. Like a physical corporation cannot be put in front of me to answer to me one question at a time. It has to be a board of directors. So that's not a person, but the government's decided it has. So I've declared that horses are people, and cows, until we make food out of them. They're people, just like anything. Until we make food out of them, are people. They really are people. Think about it that way. They have a personality. They sure do. But we all turn into food. Let's not deny that. Anyway, there's your only two things it is today, unfortunately. So, or fortunately, whichever you want to look at it. Let's have it. Let's have your...
oh, God. I was still looking for a pun for dates.
Oh, really? Dates? Oh, yes.
Yeah, I couldn't find anyone about any people.
Ow.
The fruit.
Well, then. I'll throw you out puns myself.
Here we go. Here we go.
Alrighty, you had to look them up.
Okay, my first pun is about Berlin, because we talked about the Brandenburg Gate.
Yeah? Again,
What's the most popular dating app in Berlin?
No idea.
It's called All You Need Is Love. All you need is love.
Oh my god.
All you need is love. Walls are all you need. Poor Berlin.
Sad.
What happens if two dates clash?
Don't know.
A fight. That's a good metaphor.
I'm just, it's so punny that it's not, right? It's just, what kind of dates are you talking about?
That's a problem with date, because it's a homophone. It sounds like other words.
Yeah, I don't think date puns are that, I mean, there's got to be better, right? Like, dates! Dates was like the only thing I covered on that, right? As far as days.
And nuts. Dates and nuts.
Today. Yeah, dates and nuts bread. I've already closed the window. I got to call it back up.
Well, there are no international days or weeks this whole week, actually. It's just empty. Go celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever end of the year celebration you want to have. I hope you had a good basketball day and meditation day yesterday, and if you haven't played basketball and meditated, do that today. I don't know, make up for it. So.
Yeah. I didn't play any basketball, but I dribbled.
Hey, at least you got your dribbling practice in.
All over the front of my shirt.
That's an extra pun for you.
Oh. You could have done a forefathers pun, but I stole it from you, right? I've only got one father. What do I do with the forefathers? That's the pun I gave you for free, and I kind of stole it from you, so.
This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we finish off our, last month? No, it's not the last Monday. Technically, there's one more Monday after this of the year. The second to last Monday of the year, the last full week of the year. And if we don't see you over the holidays, have a good holiday. Don't get into any fights with your family or anything like that. Don't let work force you to overwork yourself. Be as lazy as possible, honestly. That's what I say. If you would like to, you can continue to support us by subscribing to us on the Before Coffee podcast channel on YouTube, on Twitch at Toxic Alley, or you can donate us $1 a month on Patreon. You can see the post and pre-show footage that you can only see on the live streams later on Patreon as well. So thank you everyone for being here. We'll be back for Good News Day, in which you can get all the good news you need to hear this week so that you have hope in humanity again. And here is our mic drop moment. Almost clicked the wrong thing. All right, let me get my headphones for this.
It does have subtitles, just in case you don't understand these young ladies.
A season of goodwill and fun. And yet, while most of us feel festive, Grinch is out there, just get restive.
I'm not a Grinch. I just don't like hyping things up, I guess. I like to have a mediocre reaction to things.
You'll find that life is easier with this advice.
Give it to me. Give me your advice.
Let's hear it.
I love how they're wearing tinsel. That must be so itchy.
Try not to be a cunt, it's Christmas. Take a tip from Santa's elf. The rest of us are doing our best.
I'm gonna sing this on karaoke.
So don't go looking like we swallowed a bunch of holly. Don't shout at carol singers and tell them to stop. Don't buy your presents from the Oxfam shop. For fuck's sake, be merry. Have another sherry and try
And see you next Tuesday.
That was a great ending.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.